We often think we can spot toxic people, those who cross boundaries, manipulate, or bring negativity, but Carl Jung warned the most dangerous people don't come with warnings. They wear smiles, they feel familiar, they might even be family. These people aren't malicious, they're unconscious, and their unacknowledged chaos seeps into your life, slowly draining your energy, warping your reality, and turning your empathy into a trap. Here are 6 of the most emotionally dangerous psychological patterns Jung warned about, not because they are evil, but because they act from the unconscious, often without knowing it. We're going to explore them one by one, not to judge, but to understand how they operate, how they affect us, and how to protect our minds from their silent influence. 1. The unconscious manipulator. They don't attack directly. They project. You become responsible for their moods, their pain, their chaos. Jung said, "What we do not confront in ourselves we will encounter as fate." These manipulators see you not as you are, but as a symbol of what they've refused to face. You think you're helping, but you're really carrying burdens that don't belong to you. The more you try to fix them, the more you vanish, until you're no longer you, but a character in their inner drama. Their power is subtle. You won't hear demands, you'll feel pressure, invisible guilt, lingering self-doubt. And because they often seem kind, broken, or deep, you feel guilty stepping away. But stepping away is the only way to survive. 2. The persona bearer. Some people don't project pain, they hide it under perfection. The persona is the mask we wear to function in society. It's not bad unless we forget there's a face beneath it. This person always seems right, never vulnerable, never raw. But behind that polished mask is disconnection. Jung warned, too much identification with the persona buries the real self. This person expects you to play your role too. Any moment of authenticity, emotion, doubt, honesty, feels like disruption to them. And over time you begin censoring yourself to match their script. The danger, you forget you're playing a role. Their mask becomes your mask, the performance spreads, and everyone's soul suffocates. 3. The repressed shadow. Some seem balanced, composed, even admirable, but beneath the calm is a repressed storm. Jung taught that the shadow isn't just darkness, it's everything we've denied: anger, envy, ambition, even brilliance. Those who repress their shadow grow bitter, rigid, and reactive. Their emotions don't disappear, they ferment. Until one day, they explode. They may judge others' spontaneity, hate displays of emotion, or lash out over small things. Their repressed parts show up as criticism, resentment, or quiet sabotage. Jung said, "The stronger the persona, the darker the shadow. And when it erupts, it can wreck lives. Worse, it poisons the very relationships they claim to value." 4. The moral controller. The moralist doesn't repress quietly, they externalize it. This person hides their unresolved desires under a mask of righteousness. They speak in rules, ethics, and for your own good corrections. But Jung saw morality used like this as spiritual tyranny. Their judgments aren't based on truth, they're projections of the parts they won't accept in themselves. The moral controller doesn't believe they're doing harm, they believe they're helping, and that's why they're so dangerous. You'll start to feel guilty just for existing freely. Their virtue becomes your cage. Families, religious systems, and strict institutions often reward this dynamic, where obedience is mistaken for goodness and control for care. 5. The complexed. While the moralist represses and the persona hides, the complexed lose control. Jung described complexes as autonomous emotional clusters, trauma-driven fragments that hijack the present. These people love you one day, lash out the next. A compliment becomes a criticism, a joke becomes a war, Their reactions aren't to you, but to ghosts from their past. You walk on eggshells, you shrink, you censor yourself to avoid triggering their storm. And the scariest part? They don't even know they're doing it. They think their reaction is normal, but it's not. It's history repeating through you. Moments of affection keep you hooked. You believe the real them is still there. But Jung warned, unless integrated, the complex becomes your master, and theirs is running the show. 6. The psychic vampire. The final and most silent threat doesn't scream, it feeds. The psychic vampire draws your energy subtly through emotional dependency, constant need, and endless crises. You give support, then time, then your entire presence. And suddenly, you no longer know where you end and they begin. Jung called this a pathological symbiosis, a bond where one person dissolves into the emotional vacuum of another. They don't want growth. They want to be carried. Ask for space and they turn accusing, guilt-tripping, manipulating, and you stay, not out of love, but to avoid collapse. Their emptiness becomes your burden. The danger isn't just exhaustion, it's self-erasure. You forget your own desires. You feel selfish for needing silence, cold for needing distance. But you're not selfish. You're surviving. Conscious integration. Jung's path wasn't blame, it was awareness, to see, name, and integrate what's been hidden, both in others and in ourselves. Because here's the hard truth, we've all been one of these types. We've all projected, worn masks, clung, judged, drained others. The difference is in the willingness to confront it. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be conscious. This isn't about villainizing others, it's about reclaiming your boundaries, your presence, your sovereignty. Not living in reaction, but in self-possession. Because once you truly own yourself, no one can define, control, or break you again. Real freedom begins when you stop carrying what was never yours. Most never see it. They keep repeating the same emotional loops, thinking it's normal. But once you become aware, you can't go back. This journey isn't about fixing others. It's about finally choosing yourself, clearly, calmly, without guilt. So if something in you stirred today, don't ignore it. Lean in. There's more ahead. And you're exactly where you need to be.